What's up, YouTube family? My name is Shaka and this is African American Made. Today, I'm hanging with Miss Dianne Smith, hairstylist and owner of In Divine Hands. And the amazing Miss Smith has invited me to talk about the latest popping hairstyles and techniques, what made her want to be a hairstylist, why she started her own company, and what sparks her creativity. Miss Dianne is a truly remarkable hairstylist and technician. So let's go get a new look, and don't worry, we'll be in divine hands. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Dianne Smith. I'm 30 years old, and the name of my business is In Divine Hands. Another meaning for my name, Dianne, is divine. And with me using my hands, you know, I thought it would be a perfect name for my business. And I started braiding in 2019, mainly to help like my sister out because she is a mom of 6 kids with 5 of them being girls. So just kind of helping my sister out, tackling my niece's hair. And then anything I kind of start doing, I just want to get better at. And I've noticed that when I started braiding, I would pick up on things easy. Like I can watch a style or a video or a picture and I can just mimic it. And then so just over the years, I just grew a passion for it. Because not only am I, you know, improving my skills and just learning new things for myself, but I like when people get out the chair and see their hair and just feel beautiful. So that's mainly, you know, how I got started and my reasonings why as well.
That's awesome. So you basically had a lot of practice with family.
Oh, yeah, I come from a big family. I'm the youngest of 7. My oldest sister has 6. My oldest brother has 10 kids. And then I have a sister that's a year older than me. She has now 7 kids. So
wow.
And then my grandma, she has 7 kids. So yeah, I come from a really big family, mostly women. And I really got into hair too. When I was younger, my aunt, she used to do my hair a lot. So she taught me like how to like flat iron my own hair, wrap my own hair, things like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of practice in there.
Yeah, a lot of practice.
So what influenced you to, I know you built up the technical skills and just over time doing it. What influenced you to actually start the business and start soliciting clients?
Well, when I started braiding, it would mainly be for family. And I would just showcase my work on social media, just to say, hey, this is something that I did because I enjoy doing it. But I realized I got a lot of feedback from people, and then people just hitting me up to get their hair done. So I'm like, I can make this a business. You know, and then the society we live in today, that definitely comes in handy. But one thing I do like is the fact that, you know, I can catch on pretty quickly. And people, I don't know, they kind of flock to my work and they are amazed by the results at the end and when I showcase. Because when I post, I'll do like the whole process from the beginning to the end. So just seeing the results. And then also just something personal for me. It just allows me to have confidence to know that if I put my mind to something, I can actually do it. So yeah, just builds confidence within me as a person as well. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We all need a skill, so.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that your gift makes room for you, and I believe, because I'm a spiritual person, I do believe in Jesus, and I feel like, you know, I just don't want to sit on my hands. If there's something that I can do, you know, you got to put work to it. You got to practice. You got to study. You got to, you know, put in that time. So I just kind of take that approach with everything that I do, and especially hair. I have moments where I'll just sit and watch video after video for hours, just seeing different styles, different techniques, and just kind of incorporate certain things as far as what will work best for me. So yeah, that's been working pretty well.
Well, that's great. That goes into my next question. Who are some of your influences?
One of my influences that I've learned from a lot with her tag would be Duchess braids. And then I actually have a few local people who have assisted me on my journey. A friend named Erica Williams, and then my friend Latanya Garrett. They both do hair too. And in my journey, when I first started, they were always the ones that I can actually have access to ask questions about and to teach me certain techniques. So those three people would be the ones that I would say helped me in my journey the most.
That's great. So what are some of the hot styles right now? I mean, what's popping right now?
What's popping? I would say knotless braids.
So wait, hold, slow down. Hey, you know I'm a guy here, right? So you gotta walk slow with me on this.
Yeah, it's a style called knotless braids. So pretty much it's like individual braids. I don't know if, you know, back in the day they used to call them singles or a larger version of micros. I don't know if you've heard of that either, but
I've heard of them, but I don't know.
So with knotless braids is like, it pretty much looks like a checkerboard. You're just, you know, having boxes in your client's hair, and then just braiding it down like a single.
Okay.
So what I'm doing now is actually called feed-in braids. So it's a cornrow, but I'm actually feeding the hair gradually into her hair. So it makes.
Now, when you say the hair, what are you feeding into it?
I'm feeding in synthetic hair. You can use synthetic hair. You can use human hair. Synthetic connect-along hair is pretty much the best to use when it comes to feed-in styles because it lasts a little bit longer. So, yeah.
Do your clients just come to you and say, hey, make it, you know, just whatever you think is best? Or do they come to you with a picture?
Yeah.
Is it usually like they see Beyonce with some new style or something and they say, you know, recreate this or make this happen? How does that usually work for you?
Yeah, mainly some people will have like, my client Ashley, she had a picture like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, let me look it up and see. And so just based on what she wanted, I was able to kind of look up different designs, different styles, different methods on how they did it. So I can incorporate the same style. Some people, they allow me to be creative. So then at that point, I'll do some research and see, okay, what kind of design can I do? Okay, if I find a design that interests me, okay, how can I execute it? And what ways do other stylists execute it? So I can kind of like pick up off of that. I'm self-taught, so I pretty much just learn by watching videos and practicing on people, practicing on my own head. So I would say 50-50. Some people will send me pictures and then some people just say, do whatever comes to mind.
So what are some of your favorite styles?
I would say my favorite styles would be feed-in braids like this, but just going straight back. I like that. And with some of the feed-ins, it's called stitch braids. And it's exactly how it sounds. Like when the braid's finished, it actually looks like your braid is stitched in your hair, kind of like a medical procedure when you get stitches. It's the same thing, but it looks pretty cool. So I do like that style. And one of my favorites to do would either be the knotless braids or another style called faux locks. And faux locks is just pretty much an illusion of, if people have like dreadlocks with their real hair, faux locks would be people who don't have dreads, but you just add hair to make it look like they have dreadlocks. So I like faux locks as well.
Is that a growing trend or is it really common?
It is common, yeah. So it's been around for a few years. I would say the last 5 years, a lot of people have been doing faux locks. What I'm starting to see now is a lot of people doing boho braids. And so pretty much it's like box braids or knotless braids, but you also have loose curly hair hanging out of the braids. So that's another style that a lot of people are starting to wear.
We come a long way from just plain old school cornrows.
Yes, we have come a long way from the old school cornrows. Because my oldest sister, Krisha, she used to do our hair as kids, braids, and it was just simple. But now it's different designs, different techniques, different methods.
Is it just competition among people out there just creating their own styles and they just catch on, or you know what I'm saying? Like, do you go to the hair shows or something like that? I know probably mostly online now, but back in the day, you used to have the B&B shows and all that kind of stuff.
They still have different hair expos and competitions that you can enter into. I haven't entered into one. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's competition. It just really is the market that you're in.
So you create something and it just catches on with other people, and then other people copy it, and not copy it, but they
but mimic
start
or
doing it. Yeah. And then from there, people create their own stuff from that.
Their own style,
Gotcha,
yeah. So
gotcha.
you have people in the hair industry who specifically just do knotless braids, like that's the only style they'll do. You have people who will only do kids' hair, people who will do men's hair.
Torturing little kids, huh?
Well, if you got a good braider, they're going to be able to keep the child entertained and, you know, make it to where it's an enjoyable experience. So that's pretty much what it's about too when you're doing somebody's hair, the customer service behind it, and just wanting them to, you know, be comfortable and have a good time when they're in their chair.
So most of your clients are word of mouth?
Most of my clients will be family members. They do pay. And then word of mouth, I've definitely had a few clients from referral based or social media. Social media is definitely a great way to advertise and to be able to spread it quickly. Because of course, when you post on social media, certain hashtags you use can get you more views and things like that. So
you
yeah.
definitely, these days, you definitely got to have a social media presence doing this.
Yeah, it would be better to have, or even it would enhance your experience or your clients having a social media platform, because everybody literally is on social media.
Do you ever have an unhappy client? And how do you deal with a difficult client?
I haven't really had unhappy or a difficult client. I did have one where the style kind of came out a lot quicker than expected. And then in that case, you just have to apologize, take ownership, and then just offer a solution the next time. And then even offer like a discount to say, hey, you know, that's on me. You can come through and I can fix it now for free. Or, you know, the next time you book and get your hair done, you know, I'll give you a percentage off. It's up to, not necessarily up to the client, because you definitely want to make sure, like, when you're doing the style, it's neat, it's tight, it stays. But the process that the client does after they leave the chair is important too. Like, are you tying your hair down? Are you know, putting mousse on your hair? And so this is setting mousse. This is what I will apply to her hair after, and it's going to lay down any flyaways and things like that.
So the biggest thing is after they leave your chair, there's a lot of aftercare.
And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a lot or that it's tedious. It's important for anybody to take the aftercare to take care of their hair, because, you know, when your hair is in a protective style like braids, your scalp is exposed, so you want to oil your scalp. You want to tie it down every night, because not only is it going to keep your hair lasting longer, but it helps too with your natural hair to grow. Because when we lay like on our pillowcase, if we don't have like a bonnet or like a scarf on it, it can rub against the fibers of your pillowcase, which can break your hair off. So just taking care of it is what helps too. And, you know, if you take care of it, it'll last longer. If you don't, then you'll have to get your hair done sooner. I like to encourage my clients, like even when they leave, I'll send them a text message like, hey, just remember, oil your scalp every other night, wear a scarf. You know, if you want to lay the hair down, apply mousse to it, you know, and it'll last. So, and that's a part of, you know, her natural hair growing too, just taking care of it. It aids in, you know, growing her hair.
And I want my viewers to be patient with me. Hey, I'm a guy here asking these questions, so I'm sure they're like, you know, you're not asking about this and that. So, all right. So once they bring a picture to you, do you sit down and talk about whether or not, you know, that's something that you can actually deliver for them? You know, do they come to you with like a bald head and saying, you know, they show you a picture of, you know, some locks hanging down to the back?
Certain
Make it
styles,
grow.
Yeah, certain styles are not gonna be good for people who have a specific type of hair. Like knotless braids, I wouldn't recommend that for anyone who has like really thin hair, because it'll slip out a lot easier and then you will kind of look bald headed. If your hair is a certain length, if I personally can't like grip it, then I'm gonna just be upfront and honest, like, look, I can't grip your hair for this style, and I don't want to say yes to something and then you be disappointed in the end. So I like to be upfront and honest with my clients and let them know, like, hey, if I can do it, I can do it. If not, no, or I'll try to recommend something else that might work better for their hair.
So you just try to set reasonable expectations.
Yes.
So what inspires you?
What inspires me?
From a creative standpoint.
Just the ability to, capture a specific style that a client is asking for, being able to make that come to life for them. Because once you're done with the client's hair and you do it exactly as they're asking, like the confidence that they have, the way they feel, the way their face lights up, I personally like it. And so making people smile and making them feel good about themselves, I like that feeling. So it keeps me going as well. And the fact that people, like I have a specific client who had opportunities to go to somebody else. They offered, like people came to them and offered to do his hair, but he's like, nope, I'm staying with you. And so that just motivates me too, because it just lets me know that I'm doing something right if they want to keep coming back to me, or that they have the potential of going somewhere else, but they still choose to come to me. There's a lot of hairstylists out here, a lot of talented and amazing stylists out here. So just to have those loyal clients that still come to you, that definitely keeps me going.
Yeah, definitely. In doing research for this video, was checking out some hairstyle YouTube channels.
Yeah.
It's just endless. It just goes on.
Yeah, you can do so
It's
much.
endless, man.
Hair is so diverse, and it's a form of expression for people. And
Absolutely. It's definitely an
unique.
art.
Yeah, it's an art, that you can create on somebody's hair. Like, I think that's pretty dope. So, yeah.
So, what percentage of your clients are African American versus non-African American?
100%.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, it's cool either way. Just curious.
I don't know. I just mainly have African Americans, which is cool because I personally like the texture of their hair. I think our hair is pretty cool and it grips easy, and you can do like versatile styles versus people who may have finer hair. Mm-hmm. Certain styles like braids and stuff like that may not hold well. You can still do it, but yeah, it doesn't hold just as well as, the coarse type of texture or the African American texture.
So what is a lace front?
A lace front, I believe that's a weave. I don't specialize in lace fronts because I don't know how to do those. But it's kind of like tracks. I don't know if you've heard of tracks like from back in the 90s where they'll like glue certain tracks into the hair to make it longer. But with a lace front, you'll braid your real hair underneath. You can leave some of your real hair out to cover the tracks, but you just sew it into a cap and then you can wear it kind of like a wig. So I think it's just more of an advanced version of a wig.
So how prevalent are wigs these days?
They're very prevalent.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, a lot of lace fronts.
My grandma and my mama used to wear wigs. I don't see those kind of wigs no more.
Not them type of wigs. We improved a lot.
So what?
We improved. We come a long way.
What's the difference between an old school wig and a
them old school
contemporary wig?
I just think maybe just with the technology that we have now and how things are advancing in the world, like I remember my granny's wig, they used to be a little stiff. But now it's like you can get lace fronts and they look like if you had long hair, it would genuinely look like it's your hair. Well, some people get a lace front because they just don't want to deal with their natural hair, and that's a way that their hair can grow because your real hair is braided underneath the cap. And with African Americans, we don't want to manipulate our hair too much because it'll break off. I'm starting to see too, men are starting to get lace fronts. Like they be having like men who going bald, they trying to get like something to cover up the top.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm like, men kind of using lace fronts now too.
So there's a market for that, huh?
Oh yeah. So I mean, hey.
Yeah. Wow.
Anything
put
that
barbershops out of business, huh?
Some barbershops probably offer it too. I've seen a lot of videos on social media where barbers would do that. So I think that's pretty cool because, if you have people who deal with like hair problems, maybe they're thinning, they're having bald spots, they have that alternative to kind of cover it up. So if that's going to boost their confidence, then hey, by all means.
So the hair club for men is going out of business.
I mean, barbers can learn to do that too, and they can charge a pretty penny for it.
So walk me through, like, for example, the style you're doing today. What is the prepping process for
So the prepping process would be the client washing. They can either wash their hair and blow dry it, or I can do that as well. Because you want to work on a clean scalp, because when you're adding the braids into their hair, you're adding product to it. And if a client has buildup or if their hair is dirty, the style is just not going to turn out nice. And you're just going to see a whole mess of product building up on top of the hair, which isn't good. So you definitely want to start off washing your hair, making sure it's clean, making sure your hair is detangled, because it's easier to weave your fingers through. So that way your fingers aren't getting caught on the hair. Once it's detangled, what I'll do is I'll part her hair. Depending on what I'm doing, I'll either pre-part, and pre-parting means I'm just gonna have like a blueprint of how I'm gonna braid it and braid her natural hair in the design that I'm gonna do. Or sometimes I'll just do a free part, where what I'm doing now is me not pre-parting. This is considered me just parting as I go. So then once I get my parting together, you want to make sure everything is equal, like the hair is equal on both sides. I'll just go through taking my time parting one braid at a time, and then I gradually feed in the hair. So you'll take a piece of the hair and then you're just going to add it. So this is her real hair, and this is me adding the hair to her real hair. And then I'll just continue to braid it. And then as I'm going, because her hair is a little frizzy, well, everyone's hair is frizzy, I'll add product to it, which is like a little jam. It's kind of like thick. And I'm just gonna add it to her hair and to the braiding hair. And then I'm gonna comb it through just to kind of smooth it out. So, and then the thing is, it's just a repetitive process. It's the same thing, just over and over again. And then you just wanna make sure the hair is at the same length. So sometimes I'll just like lift up the other braids to measure and make sure it's the same length. And then you're just gonna gradually just keep doing the same thing until you're done with the braid. And it's important to take your time when you're braiding it, because if you try to rush through it, it can be uneven, it can be too frizzy, you can miss a piece of the hair. I've learned the patience doing hair.
So what's the average time on a particular style like this? How much time are we talking about?
Anywhere to 3 to 4 hours. Just really depends on how fast, a braider braids, the parting and things like that. I feel like sometimes I can be a perfectionist, and if the parting is not how exactly I want it to be, I'll redo it again. But yeah, typically anywhere between 3 to 4 hours. If I'm doing like a man's hair, like braiding it down, like in cornrows, that can take anywhere between 1.5 hours to 2 hours. The longest style, I would say, are the box braids and the knotless braids. Those, depending on the length, because you have to take into consideration the length of the hair, the size of the hair, whether they want large braids, whether they want small braids or medium, and whether they want it down to their back, to their hips, to their knees. Like that really depends on the time. But box braids and knotless braids typically take anywhere to like 5 to 8 hours.
So your client's husband or boyfriend or whatever is sitting outside blowing a horn, he's gonna have to double back, huh?
He'd have to double back, or he could come sit in, come have a seat, get a snack or a drink, watch some TV, kick it. But typically when we get our hair done, our men know, like, what style you getting?
She's gonna be gone in a minute.
She's gonna be gone for a couple hours. Let me go. She packing her lunch? Oh, okay. We need a snack, we need a lunch break, everything.